best of 21. Like, does no one want to go touch some grass, drink some protein works, live life? Like, what? That's wild. All right, we're not quite at that extreme. It's a playoff 16 here between Puppypaw and Anatan, and finally, Anatan is on the board. It just happened to be the one game where they didn't turn spectating on, so we literally just had a very scuffed stream watching from their POVs on Twitch. Ottomans versus Malians up in game number 5, though. The classic from the first expansion, right? When the new 2 civs got added. I feel like this one has to favor Malians, though, right? Ottomans don't really have many great matchups at the moment. I'm actually looking at the stats because I'm curious. We just literally never see this one. So Ottos versus Malians, it's a 50-50 with 10 games played. If we check the previous patch, the January patch, I would expect Ottomans to be favored there. Yeah, 64.7%. It's like one of the least played matchups in AoE 4 right now, high-level conk play. The reason why it's Malian favored, by the way, now, in my opinion, is, for a start, Ottomans got hard crippled in Feudal Age. Malians are still a premium feudal-based civ, right? They have better spearmen, better range units, better cavalry than most civs, at least the ones that don't have heavy cav. And then on top of that, the Castle Age unlock is so quick, whereas Ottoman's Castle Age boom, like, it doesn't immediately come online. They don't get insane value. The one upside, actually, for the Ottomans is if Anatan can survive the initial onslaught of Castle, where things do get good for the Ottomans is the Janissaries. Janissaries are incredible, right? They're able to just eviscerate most things Malian's going to pump out. At least at the start of the age. Because typically Malians are going to be going into mass sofas. Now, as we go deeper, we then have to talk about Great Bombards, but I just don't see that getting this deep, right? Like, I'd be surprised if this game reaches Imperial Age. Puppypaw's win condition should be Feudal Early Castle. I actually think the biggest threat to Anatan here is that I've noticed that a lot of Malian players at the moment have been experimenting with more aggressive Feudal Ages, where they attack the enemy base instead of just defending. And I think that could lead to a very quick GG here. Anna is going to be in with the military school opening. Pretty standard. I feel like practically every single game we ever watch, this is how it begins. The reason is that you are able to aggro your opponent, but then afterwards you can deer shove at home, right? Like, it's a very powerful play right now. There are some matchups where I actually hate seeing someone walk the spearman over to the enemy base. This one I'm okay with because there's houses to attack that are easily burnt down, right? The pit mine value just gets decreased by that. But I've seen matchups where, like, the gold isn't being gathered and there's no reason to burn a mining camp. And instead of pushing deer in, a player just comes and burns a mining camp. Don't be that guy. Trust me, you'll be much better off with a deer shove. The most legendary best of 21 was between Jordan and the Viper, back when Jordan was the best. It went to 21 games. Oh, damn. You know, one of the most epic things is, like, you know, I think in terms of format, the best format in any esports, like, it might actually be Apex Legends. The match point system, where, like, you can basically, you could have over 20 matches in a grand finals. Because everyone has to get enough points to qualify for a victory of the tournament, and then they have to win the match, right? I'd love to see more of those kind of ones where you have to build a big enough lead, right? It's kind of like the idea of, like, in tennis where you have to be 2 sets ahead, I think, if I remember correctly. I think you have that in different sports as well. Where, like, if I'm correct, if I'm wrong, chat, I don't think it works that way in darts. There have been some tournaments that are that way. Table tennis does it as well. But, like, the idea of, like, you must be 2 games ahead or 3 games ahead, whatever, right? Like, that would be wild to see for a tournament. We're like 50 hours in the broadcast. This is never ending. Tech up's now complete. Puppypaw. How greedy do you want to be here? The end goal should always be Fulani, but you know you're gonna have to be present in this age, right? Because, like, it's not really just about the fact that the Ottomans should be forcing you to be present. It's that you should be looking to do damage because Ottomans are weaker in feudal than they are at any stage of the game. It looks like we're getting a lot of stone gathering. I'm really hoping this is a 2TC build. I'm a very big fan of 2TC builds. I don't like this 1TC approach in feudal age. Ottoman players keep trying at the moment. It's literally the weakest way to play this civ. Considering the amount of stone gathering going on, rather, it looks like my Anno boy is on point. We are heading into a 2TC build. This is really cool because it's now going to force Puppypaw to react. Puppypaw could try to just go mass mills and spam it up, but I actually don't think that build likes being thrown out up against 2TC. Like, the thing I've noticed is Malians have been struggling against civs that are able to rush 2TC. Because even when you try to fast castle, like, your opponent has a pretty substantial eco inflation by the time you get there. So it kind of offsets the value of the Fulani. I think we are getting a TC drop towards the deer. Yeah, actually, this is fine. Like, Poppy Paw did intercept the deer, but this is close enough. I mean, realistically, like, what else would you have done as Anatan? You wouldn't have walked out here to build a TC. That's way too exposed. And how the hell are there 2 sheep out here? Just humping in the woods. Like, no one has gotten them yet. Well, Poppy Paw would benefit from this. It kind of explains a lot right now. He's sitting down at practically no sheep. So, almost a 50% increase in sheep off of grabbing those 2. Meanwhile, Anno, plenty more food to work with. 10 sheep still in reserve. Remember, he also has the Madrissa, which is just permanent food. And now, he's got the 2.4k food to work with here. And 1 archer is not going to cut at Poppy Paw. So what's the thought process here from Poppy Paw? Is he just going fast castle now? I think so. But this already feels bad if you're the Canadian, right? Like, because you built an archery range to build 1 archer. That kind of feels worse than just not building an archery range at all, or even worse than building 4 archers. Because at least you would have got extra value out of the 150 investment. Anno, I wonder, does he now just rush castle, or does he feudal all in? Because there's a few different strategies off this 2TC. I do, by the way, think the Ottoman 2TC is probably going to be the new meta. I think it's the best build they now have. I like the idea of feudal pressure here. You can be very quick about this, because Poppy Paw, like, unless he wants to go for a Farimba, he's not going to be able to fast castle. In fact, considering the amount of food and gold he's hoarding right now, I am kind of wondering if he's considering Farimba. It would be a pretty bonkers choice, but I think it would be the right one. I know what, we've got 6 on gold. This could just be for the eco upgrades. I wouldn't read into this as an immediate, oh my god, he's fast castling as well. Typically, when you put this many people on gold at this stage, it's not full telling. But considering the deer gathering rate, like, it would be pretty reasonable to consume that he's just going to go for it. Remember, he's getting an insane amount of food, and it's deceptive when he gets it, right? Like, when you watch these numbers, like, when you see it not going up, that's because compared to sheep, like, it takes twice as long to go for your drop-off. Donzo's getting queued up. Poppy Paw's just kind of getting baited here, man. I don't like this for him right now because it's just like you need to be rushing castle. Like, Anatan is doing that. But Anatan has baited you twice now. You built an archer range to build 1 archer, and now you've built a Rax to build Donzos to defend against passive Sipahi. This feels pretty bad. And the problem for Poppy Paw is because he's only, what, 3 ranches in, he's going to get eclipsed. Like, Anatan's tech timing should be a lot quicker here. And remember, once the Ottomans reach castle, that's when production, passive production, really starts to ramp up. And if you remember what we said about early castle, Malians want to bully the field with sofas. You can't build sofas here. You have to go mass archers. That makes you very predictable. And you're up against a civ that's then getting passive siege via mangonels coming out. All of a sudden, that's an extra box you have to tick and solve for as the Malians. Wait, what's this? There's still the old Polish review on the internet that fantasizes over how realistic AoE1 villages with chopping wood. What? Whoa, whoa, whoa. Are you telling me these guys don't look realistic? Like, look at that emotion. They look like an 86-year-old man playing badminton. Majestic. I do love how they always go after the stump as well. Honestly, I'm just quite frankly stumped how they get that much wood out of it. I'm sorry. Anyway, Mehmed Imperial Armory now on the way. Archery range getting added in. I think he's going to force push some Jannies here. Poppy Paw. Plenty of food to work with, but the gold is the thing lacking. And this is always the worrisome part, right? Like, you need to fill out those ranches, which means you're keeping yourself further and further away from the tech timing. That's pretty cool, actually. Not many Malian players move out for the deer like this, but it's kind of free in this game, right? And it's going to make you a bit more optimal because now you're not investing extra gold getting into additional cattle to eat. That's really important considering the state of the game. You need to get all your upgrades, right? So if you have to just keep spending gold to eat food, you're going to be a little bit slower in getting your tech upgrades, blacksmith upgrades. You know. And to be honest, I do see a world in which Papipour needs 3 units in his comp. He's going to need the archers. He's going to need probably to go into Musofadi warriors here. And then I wouldn't be surprised if we need to get the siege out as well. I don't think you can try to rush in with sofas, considering how easily accessible Janissary should be. Extra military school coming in, so we're going up to the 3. Anno hasn't produced that many units yet, so Vizier point count should be fairly low, but that can escalate fast. Especially at this stage when you talk about the production speeds coming online. The thing that I think usually doesn't get highlighted enough when you talk about castle age for Ottomans, it's not you adding an extra military school. It's you adding 2 extra military schools, which quickly becomes 3 extra military schools due to the Vizier point unlock time, right? Like, never forget, this is an extra military school. It just, instead of poking out a few pointless Sipahi or spearmen, it gives you siege for free. Sipahi raid on the backside to be annoying for Papipour. Eco lead is starting to rear its ugly head, and you have to remember this is like doubly bad, right? Because yes, you have got the Fulani to offset a lot of this initially, but now you're up against passive production, which already adds not immediately obvious extra economy to your opponent's base. And that economy is always kind of in circulation until they reach population. How much food are we getting per? So these are worth about 2 villages each, right? And then you got the extra from the Fulani, which is giving you like an extra 1.5 villages. So like these ranches, I think it's fair to, like, let's round up to 4. Let's be generous here, right? So you're sitting here with basically 24 extra villages. It's closer to like 20 at this stage. But like you have to equate that, but then you have to add in the fact that, I'm trying to remember the raw numbers on military schools. I think military schools generate like, is it 120 resources a minute for free at this point? And he's got 4 of them. Poison arrows now coming. And there's the Musofadi switch we were waiting for. Like, this is smart. Like, this is basically probably your cleanest answer to Janny's. You don't really want to play Donzos. I mean, they're slower. They're not really more cost efficient. And they don't have the unique quirk of stealth to try and ambush with. This is basically how you destroy the entire enemy army, right? Send the Musofadi in, clean the siege, distract the Janissaries, have archers clear up. Papipour needs to get the spending on right now. He's holding a lot of food. You don't want to rush Imp here. It doesn't really do anything for you. There's a few players that have some cool Imp builds. The most notable one would be Louis. He has this really cool Malian Imp build where he spams into Musofadi gunners. I haven't seen Papipour ever commit to that, and I feel like that would be a bit of a death sentence here. Hello? Yoink. Don't mind if I do. Relic's now on the way home for Anatan. We still have some sheep to work with here, right? Like, power of Anatolian Hills. You have to remember, he went for the deer. It's funny he's adding in the farms, by the way, because he's still got 18 sheep to work with as the Ottomans. So food is not going to be an issue anytime soon for Anatan. That's important considering that it definitely will not be a problem for Papipour. I'm just going to flat out say it. This landmark needs to be nerfed. I think, like, Malians probably need some tweaks and benefits elsewhere, but, like, the issue is, while Malians as a pick are not OP, the concept of what Grand Fulani is badly designed. Having this much food for free underneath your TC is absurd. Right? At least when it's farms near a TC, you're investing villages to do it, right? Once these are up, it's not villages, it's extra villages, essentially, that don't take population. That's wild. I do wonder if a lot of passive incomes just need to be nerfed across the board. Like, gold as well. I think I've highlighted this before, like, I don't like the state of relics, because relics literally are just designed to get taken back home and sit at home. And it's a shame because the devs are working very hard to create unique mechanics that make you use relics actively. One of the most notable ones to me is the Buddhist monks, right? For those who don't know, because they probably never used it, because who does it? If you build the Temple of Equality, Buddhist monks, the Wololo buffs the stats of your units in range temporarily. That's designed to try and get you to use these relics on the go. I think one kind of recommendation I gave is the idea that, you know, relic generation is based on how close you are to a sacred site or to the enemy base or to the center of the map. And then all of a sudden, like, relics aren't ever just pocketed at the back of the base safely forever, right? All of a sudden, relics exist as a dynamic element of the game that gets pulled back and forth. Now, the alternative way is you just nerf the crap out of passive gold. Which would kind of be a shame, because I think at that point, relics, instead of being a key objective, they just become a pitiful footnote, right? Anyway, Puppy Paw army is getting big. He needs to fight. He just wants to fight ASAP. Anatan needs time. Wolves are going to buy a little bit, but considering the amount of Musofadi you're up against, they're not going to buy much. Oh, I appreciate you putting the Malian main warning in. My take on it is I agree, like, their units are weaker. They are basically a Zergsiv. But, like, I'm fine with their economy being stronger. I just don't like that their economy is free. Right? Like, it's very hard to block Malian economy if you think about it, right? That's the issue. There's no risk associated with getting that strong economy. I'm always a big fan of, like, higher value and more dangerous areas, right? Because then it's risk-reward. You know, if there's something very valuable in the center of the map, like big gold veins is a perfect example. This is Dry Arabia, why it's such a good map. You know, 8k gold on that location, wow, but it's going to be away from the corner, so I'm taking a bigger risk getting it. Anasan, Wolves being broke fast here. These boys are in. Go straight after the TC. Anasan has got a 30 eco lead, so won't have to miss it. Enough to actually eclipse the Fulani effect. Sapahi now pushing it back. Has got that attack speed aura, so notice that Puppy Paw does not want any part of this fight, which is intriguing. Instead, he just wants to pull it out into the open where he can use his numbers. Anno, not willing to follow, though. That was pretty clever, actually. Puppy Paw almost got him hook, line, and sinker there. I think he was about 2 seconds, maybe like 2 tiles away from just enveloping and going to the back line. I think Puppy Paw needs a tech. It's starting to look like he's saving for it. Like, if you can't break into Anatan's base now, you can't just rely on raw numbers. It's not going to work. Your best tool in your arsenal now is to tech up. Because the longer you fail to, like, dent this base, the more Vizier points they're generating, the fatter the advantage Ottomans get, because they start to get this Castle Age plus effect when they get those extra buffs through. Someone's got Sacred Size on lock, and Anno, an ambitious maneuver out here. Looks like he's going to split off the spy to go for a raid. Oh, this is straight for the farms, right? Yeah, you just got to go for the ranches here. Now, Puppy Paw, I don't think you can come home to react to this. You just need to go in. Like, if he's going to take your toys away, take his away. It's going to be huge. And he's got enough archers to contest all of the Janissaries, all 4 of them. Woohoo! And the archer mass behind it. The Mangoes are the only threat, but with a Musofadi like this, I don't think you have enough to defend the Mangoes. Ranches are being targeted down, though. Lonzo's a hunter behind this, so numbers are slowly going to shrink down. Love the target on the metas just to get rid of that attack speed aura. Not able to club down all the cattle. Elsewhere, though, the TC is going to fall. Puppy Paw with the correct read here. A 2x military advantage, but considering the forces that aren't here for Anatan, it's more like a 3x. Wolves also up, so it's not like Anatan can just come and go as he pleases. Heavy losses on the Sapahi line. And that Sacred Site timer is still ticking down. Love this detail by Puppy Paw. He's avoiding the choke points because that's the one way these Mangoes can win the fight for Anatan. And behind this now, Puppy Paw is on his way to Imperial Age. Yeah, pretty much what Puppy Paw is doing is just leaning into the new meta. Like, the new meta really is just crap tier units to the extreme. For a while, we saw it being sofa booming. I still think that can be valuable, just not in this matchup. But, like, typically it would be sofas and Musofadi, or Warrior Scouts and Musofadi. But because he's up against a Civ that has anti-cav ranged, you don't want to build cav at all. So this is a smart read. And also by having the archers, your opponent can't go Janissaries to clear out the Musofadi. Sure, you're somewhat countered by the Mangoes, but it's just a mobility issue. Like, there's nothing in Anatan's army that can keep pace with this. That's why he's just slowly but gradually losing the game. For those just tuning in, this is the 5th game out of a total of 16. So still plenty to come. Puppy Paw He propelled himself an early lead. Anatan did just make a recovery and get a point on the board, but I've got a feeling we're looking at a 4-1 storyline at the tail end of this game. Unless Anatan can pull off a miracle here. He's starting to stockpile up for the Imperial Age. Sacred Site timer is still a doozy here. It's a scary detail, actually, in this game. And considering that Poppypaw is now switching into Musofadi Gunners, Anatan may have to rush out for a decap that could cost him the game. I know, also, he's going to need more gold. He's got, what, 4k left in the corner? Passive production is a wonderful thing, right? But you can't rely on it to carry the entire game. You will have to get some active gold gathering going for production as well as all the research tech along the way. Poppypaw now looking to break through the walls. I don't know why. Like, the clownery of this. The upgrades are in. Musofadi are going to leave more than just a red mark. They're going to leave a bruise. Blockers on the north side as well. Looks like decaps are at least coming in. A little raid coming in from the remaining supply here. And that does at least reveal the gunners. Anatan running out of space to play with. I mean, the bigger issue here now isn't going to be the Sacred Site condition. It's going to be the gold. He's getting blocked out. Yeah, that Mehmed Imperial Army is still not out. So it means you're not getting any passive Great Bombards coming through. Those things are expensive. Unlike the food from our sponsor. Click that link right now. Why are you not clicking that link? Code Killer Pigeon at checkout. But I am nowhere near as killer as Poppypaw in this game. Musofadi immediately erase the progress made there. Dude, that Mehmed is never going back up. And the Sacred Sites, by the way, never got decapped. Like, I'm shocked by that. He had the Knight on the north side, but apparently that got blocked out before the decap completed. Musofadi just continued to run away. This is so obnoxious. Like, I feel like this is just a month for mobility in May because all I keep talking about, like, I've talked about it historically so much, but in the last month, probably more so than the last 3 months, mobility is king. Your army might be superior, right? Like a Janissaries, ooh, scary. Attack speed, or oh my god. Mangoes, big threat, but it counts for absolutely nothing if you can't catch the enemy. You can have the biggest tank in the War Machine arsenal, but if I just run away, if I'm 15 miles off, good luck hitting me. Okay, 15 is maybe low. If I'm 100 miles away, good luck hitting me. Anno all of a sudden has taken the military lead. That's at least the one positive. Poppypaw, though, is focusing on that timer. Stonewalls are going up now. I mean, this is going to turn into a panic rush. The problem with Anno's army as well is, like, these numbers are a lie. Like, this is not quality, right? Like, most of his army are just archers, and you're against gunners. I don't see how you win that. Another detail is, like, also the gunners with the Fort the Huntress, so they'll always gap close you before you see them, right? Like, this isn't a game where you're running scouts. It isn't a game where you're creeping outposts. It does feel like death is creeping in for Anno here. Army's going to start marching out. Poppypaw is going to reset and back off here. We are heading towards the fight over that central sacred site, and Poppypaw is already astutely aware of it. Castle drop now coming in. And no great bombards on the way. The Mehmed Imperial Armory, come on. He gave up. He actually gave up on repairing it. He's like, what's the point? He'll just run in with a million Musofadi again. Castle drop. Anatan. Oh, he sees it. Poppypaw is going to be forced to commit to the fight. Villagers need to pull away from this. They're in range right now. Looks like the castle should be going up. And Anatan, with only archers, cannot stay here. Oh, the mangoes. Well, someone clearly don't like their fruit because he forgot to get those mangoes up quicker. I can't believe that. I mean, even with the mangoes, that would have been a stretch, but now we find ourselves just a little over 3 minutes away from a 4th victory in this series for the Canadian. He's going to try for the north. I think he's for a very sad expression here on the north. Like, considering that your opponent could just run by with the Thought of Huntress, get the buff, and go on the way. I mean, in fairness, Puppy Ball did kind of blunder there, right? Like, there's actually no keep up here. So, in theory, there's a way. I also think Puppy Ball is completely mismacroing. Like, there's way too much food and gold. He needs more production here. Full production would have been sick. Oh my god, I think Puppy Ball, he just made a critical blunder here. He needs to go into the enemy base. Like, you can't stop the decap now, right? You just need to kill his economy. And I think he's aware of it. So Anatan will get to live a little bit longer, but now, having moved the entire army out of position, Puppy Paw is going to get back to his old game of raiding. All burn through coming in. Anatan immediately shifts all villagers north side. We have finally got elite Janissary upgrades on the way. Yes, you heard that correctly. We've waited that long. Sacred Site? Wait, what? Anatan! Alright, wrap it up. Send it home in a coffin. He's done. I can't believe that. He moved away. The one hope. The one way. And now there is none. Anatan stuck on 1 and Puppy Paw about to find his way up to 4. There's no doubt about it anymore. The Sacred Site south side is way too defended. The center one, not an option. And that north side, just too far away. Army now hitting into the economy. And Anatan just stuck playing a game of Benny Hills he wants no part of. GG called.